Think back to when you were in high school. Were you on a sports team? Did you get straight A's? Were you bullied? Was there ever a time when you feared for your safety as a result of one of your peers? In both 2016 and 2017, hate crimes in schools jumped 25%. In fact, just over 10% of all hate crimes are committed at schools. Threats of violence have also increased, with nearly 1,300 more in the 2017-2018 school year than in the year before. Researchers indicate that the biggest reason why schools are seeing an uptick in violence is because not enough preventative action is being taken until it is too late. Typical warning signs of violent behavior include withdrawing or isolating oneself. Studies show that 10% of adolescent youth are socially isolated from their peers, and in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, that number is only getting worse. Recognition of warning signs like isolation needs to be put at the forefront of preventative action against hate-based violence. But identifying whether or not a student is isolated from their peers can be quite difficult. That is why our team from Arizona State University's Luminosity Lab have created All Schools, a website and digital tool with the goal of helping schools build stronger communities on campus and with a message that promotes active listening and learning from student responses. Our project focuses on preventative action through the use of protective factors like building a strong social network and promoting positive engagement with teachers in a supportive school climate. We began the research process by conducting a target audience analysis of teens in grades 9 through 12. High school is the time that adolescents are finding clubs and organizations to join in order to become more involved in their schools and communities. They are typically driven towards exploration and trying new things in order to achieve personal goals that are valuable to them as individuals. It is also the time when we begin to see the negative effects of the gaps between students who are socially involved and socially isolated. Teens who isolate themselves socially may engage in increased social media use or video game play, which can become a tool that prevents them from engaging in clubs and extracurriculars. We then assessed our secondary target audience, teachers and school administrators. Most teachers truly care about the well-being of their students and want them to be actively involved in their school community. Teachers believe that engagement is an effective way to ensure that students are set up for success in the classroom. However, many schools simply lack the time and resources to implement effective assistance. We wanted to learn more about how schools are currently handling community engagement. So we sat down with Arizona Vice Principals Matt Lees from Verrado High School and Autumn Daniels from Agua Fria High School to learn more about what methods they currently have in place for assessing their students' involvement in sports and clubs and how well the school is actually catering to their students' interests. What we found is that neither school has adequate methods of gauging their student body's general interests, whether or not a student is involved in a club or has interest in starting one. It is also clear that the administration does not have the time to organize and make sense of a bunch of data about their students that could potentially help them build a stronger sense of community and create meaningful relationships with their peers and educators. Our research also included speaking with former extremists through a connection with our mentors at the Simon Wiesenthal Center. They shared their experiences with social isolation and extremism during their school years. Here's what one had to say.
My name is Tim Zoll, and my former far-right associations was White Aryan Resistance and the Hammerskin Nation, where I was involved with violence and recruitment and propaganda. Social isolation led me to seek a tribe where I felt accepted, and once accepted, it was me and my tribe against my perceived enemies.
Our personal conversations throughout the research process gave our project a sense of purpose and allowed us to really define our mission for All Schools. Our mission with All Schools is
Our mission with All Schools is
Our mission with All Schools is
Our mission for All Schools is empowering the individuals and organizations that are closest to our youth with the tools necessary to make data-driven decisions to build better online and in-person communities, reduce the risk factors related to hate-based violence, and to see what can happen by opening up the communication channels between students, staff, and faculty more broadly.
Without a strong connection to the place where these students are spending most of their days as teenagers, they can quickly become isolated. And in our conversation with Mr. Matt Lees at Verrado High School, one thing really stuck out to us, which was that
students really need to have a buy-in in order to be successful at school. And so our mission is really to help schools give students that buy-in.
We aim to bring people from all walks of life to bond over shared interests. There's nothing more empowering than the knowledge that you have an entire community that cares about you.
To carry out our mission of helping both students and teachers foster a stronger sense of community on campus, our project utilizes a website with surveys and practical data visualization tools. When a student or teacher goes online to take this survey at allschoolsaz.org, they will arrive at the homepage where they will be able to easily access the survey. The individual will then be prompted to enter a unique 4-digit code given to each school to ensure that the data is collected securely. In the survey, the student will answer questions like how connected they feel to their school community, what their personal interests are, current involvement in school clubs based on a customized list for each school and their current clubs, and whether or not they would be interested in joining a club or starting their own. The student can also write in suggestions, making them feel like they are contributing to the improvement of their school's community. Then, all they have to do is click Submit. It's that simple. Now let's take a look at the platform from an administrator's perspective. The data throughout this section is simply for demonstrative purposes and does not contain any data collected from our partnered schools in order to uphold confidentiality agreements. Once at the login screen, the administrator will log in with the account they are given, and once on the dashboard, they will be able to see the data. At the top are quick statistics and charts that help organize the data in a way that makes it easy to analyze. In this set of data, we have 498 submissions, and of those, 218 students are currently involved in one or more clubs. So you can see that just with a quick glance at the data, over 80 students are interested in art, yet the school offers no art club to join. And lastly, down at the bottom is all of the data with each student's name. Each category can be filtered for easier viewing. The All Schools platform makes it super easy to draw conclusions with little time commitment from administrators. Now let's analyze our post-research results. We officially launched and implemented on January 20th, 2021 with over 400 survey responses from students and staff. Our partner schools led the communication efforts to reach their respective communities and were able to direct their students and staff to the website and survey. Although we cannot speak on any specifics about the data collected through the platform, since it is to be used exclusively for educational and community building purposes by the schools, we've gained some valuable high-level insights that we can share. We received some great feedback from students, with some offering suggestions for a new club that they would be interested in starting. Some students asked for more communication about club offerings and how to join. Others suggested more discussion between students and teachers about how to improve the school's community. Taking these students' suggestions and concerns into consideration, we've come up with some constructive feedback for the platform. The survey should make it more clear that the responder can type in their own interests if theirs does not appear on the list. And we also need to make an effort with our partner schools to turn these insights into action. Another crucial piece of information the platform produces is which students feel the least included in their community, what their interests are, and how the school could better serve them. This precise data will allow schools to target their efforts in the most effective way possible and identify those who are most socially isolated. We did encounter a few challenges throughout this process, such as deciding when and how to have schools roll out our tool. We thought it would make more sense to implement All Schools at the beginning of a new semester rather than at the end of one, meaning that we had to wait a little while after its completion to do so. However, we made the most of this time by developing a closer relationship with our partnering schools and allowing them to really express any specific changes that they thought we should make to the survey to better serve their students. We spent our allotted funds for this project on building our website and tool to make it as functional as possible and to ensure that All Schools could be rolled out at the beginning of the spring 2021 semester. The funds went to purchases like website domain and hosting, and tools to help create the data visualization platform. Our purchases also helped to ensure that All Schools would be easily scalable and sustainable for the future. Our scalability and sustainability roadmap has already been put into motion. we are beginning to work with the Chandler Education Foundation to improve and implement All Schools in the Chandler Unified School District here in Arizona. We've also presented the tool to the Assistant Vice President for Outreach Partnerships at ASU, and will begin working with our educational outreach leadership to offer the tool as a free resource that can be leveraged by all of ASU's partnership school districts. Collectively, these districts consist of 270 schools, ranging from elementary to high school. To ensure the sustainability of All Schools, we're working with the Luminosity Lab at ASU to formalize the project into either its own organization or to be embedded with the university as a service offering, depending on what is decided to be able to reach the most communities and have the largest impact. All of the organizations and communities we are working closely with are key stakeholders in the iterative improvement of the platform, and we intend to listen to them to help guide the new features we add to our product. Through rapid iterations and improvements, we will continually work towards our vision of the All Schools platform, catering to the needs of the entire K-12 education spectrum, both at the school and district levels across the country, all at zero cost to the communities. That was a lot of information, so let's recap. All Schools uses protective factors to target warning signs of hate-based violence in teens such as isolation. We aim to fill in the information gaps for teachers who lack the proper resources to provide the best experience for their students. Our user-friendly tool achieves this through a positive-facing website with simple surveys for students and staff that securely collect data and present it in an easy-to-digest format. With quick observation, administrators can better understand how connected their students feel to the school community and see where improvements can be made. This is truly just the beginning. With our number of partnerships growing, we are hopeful that All Schools will continue to spread its impact to schools nationwide.